Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Wednesday, November 14th, and I really wanted to do something different this morning and bring somebody in that we could just talk about the markets and something that we all need to be concentrating on as investors and traders, especially for the next 6 weeks, and that's holiday sales. So I brought a good friend of mine into the product here with me, and his name is Brian Sozzi. He is a expert retail analyst. Brian, how's it going this morning, man?
What's going on, Kyle? What's happening?
Nothing, dude. Got a lot of investors asking, a lot of people going. After this election, I haven't really seen too much about the holiday sales, so I wanted to get you on and talking about it and get your thoughts. So first, let's start with JCP. JCP after last week's just debacle. What do you see going on with that stock right now?
Well, JCPenney this is just right in my wheelhouse. First of all, the question is now the viability of JCPenney as an entity. And you have to look at the company's balance sheet. When you're running same-store sales down about 27%, and actually over the past 3 quarters, same-store sales have been down over 20%. When you're doing that and you're lowering price points, the balance sheet is going to take a hit. Now, management has been selling the hope here. They seem to think the balance sheet is not necessarily risk. They're going to exit this year with a lot of cash. I say next year, if you continue to drive these types of sales and bring prices to where they are, you're worried about the company having to raise money. Do they have enough cash to orchestrate this giant turnaround with shop-and-shops that they've continued to sell to Wall Street? I don't know. And the fundamental problem is when you change this model, you're essentially saying to this consumer, traditional department store consumer that needs discounts, that you need to trust us on price. And I don't think the consumer trusts JCPenney on price, and that's a big problem. I don't want any exposure to JCPenney. We launched coverage with JCPenney in January with a sell. I'm still at a sell. Don't want any exposure. Let Ackman and Bernardo keep it.
Now, what do you think about Ron Johnson? Do you think he's got even the slightest chance of next year or maybe in the year after of turning around that into a store that people want to shop at?
It's a good question. Now, I think what he's doing, if he could pull this off, he will have created a store inside a mall, an anchor store, that's fundamentally different than a Sears, fundamentally different than Macy's, and then fundamentally different outside the mall compared to a TJ Maxx and a Kohl's. Now, the shops are interesting. I walked a couple yesterday. The products are interesting. There's a lot less inventory floating around the stores. But the fact of the matter is, for him to call out and say that he's trying to create the world's largest or the biggest specialty department store inside a big, giant, hulking box where tumbleweeds are still blowing through many departments is a problem. You cannot drive a specialty store model when you operate that type of square footage. Now, I think he will have 2013 to play this out. There's been some chatter lately that he might be forced out. You had Ackman appear yesterday and maybe kind of came out and said a vote of non-confidence in Ron Johnson. That's the first time we've heard that from him. I think you will have 2013 here to pull this off or try to get more stores working, because at the end of the day, who is going to come in and run this company? If I'm an executive, I wouldn't want to try to unwind what Johnson just has been doing for the past year.
Well, we all know from Apple, so as the saying goes, once you're good, or once you're lucky, twice you're good, right? So,
right.
Be real interesting. All right, so one thing that really struck me as interesting, Brian, is when we saw Walmart over here on the desk come out and announce that they're going to be doing Black Friday sales Thursday at 8 o'clock on Thanksgiving. I don't know about you. I'm still doing dinner at that time. So, I choose both sides of the family, one early in the afternoon, second at night. What do you think? What is it saying about the market right now?
Well, I'm a single guy, Kyle, so it's all good for me. I'm going to be visiting Walmart and Target in the morning. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of disappointment, or I'm part of the traditional Thanksgiving person, and I can understand how you want to spend time with your family. But in the day, Walmart, Target, all these other guys are opening up. Are publicly traded companies. Walmart is leading. They're opening before Target. And I wanted to see Walmart do this because they bought so much inventory for the holidays. They bought what they call, quote unquote, deep. A lot of products, a lot of inventory behind key items. I need them moving this stuff out the door as soon as possible and at a reasonable price point. I like their promotions. They're catchy. It reflects on what they've been doing throughout 2012, leading on price. And I think that's very positive. The company's going to report earnings tomorrow. I would expect their U.S. business to continue to show some pretty good same-store sales, higher traffic, higher average ticket. If there is risk to what Walmart's doing, it's the international business. I think the returns there are a little bit lower than management would like, but I like what they're doing on Black Friday.
So before we get on the call, we were talking about a couple of stocks that were particularly in the news this week for you, Abercrombie and Dick's. So what do you think about those?
All right, well, Abercrombie just reported today. I have no idea where this quarter came from. The stark turnaround in same-store sales compared to the second quarter was eye-popping. The margin improvement, eye-popping. The tone of the CEO, who's been in the headlines very negatively of late, eye-popping. I kept clients out of this name going into the print, just going back to the earnings call, just going back to the filings, that I still don't want exposure to this. Even though the stock's popping, I don't want exposure to Abercrombie. I don't trust the numbers. I don't know where they came from. I don't know if they're sustainable. I think if you want to play teen apparel, you're going to have to look at American Eagle. I think they have better products. They have newer management teams. They're closing stores. I don't like this Abercrombie. Now, conversely, outside of retail, I'm almost being a ninja in terms of my stock picks. I don't want to get excited into the holiday season. The market is not giving you that holiday season on trade. There's no signs of Santa Claus. Looking at Dick's Sporting Goods, I liked it going into the quarter, and I like it after the quarter. One key standout is the online business, up 47%. They're basically competing very, very effectively versus Amazon. They're shipping more product from the stores to the consumer who shops online. It's very efficient. That's good. And even outside of Dick's, you look at something like a TJ Maxx. The stock was sold. There's been some peak margin theory out there. I'm not a buyer of it. The fact of the matter is this company put out an inline guidance result, and they have consistently shown that throughout the quarter they're going to raise guidance. I think value is going to be a focus for the holiday season. Most consumers, that's going to be named if I can pick it up cheaper like it is now compared to a couple months ago. I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah, I'm looking at Abercrombie right now, and it looks like they're up 28% in the pre-market here.
Yeah, the shorts are getting killed. That's what you're seeing. That's what you're seeing on just because this quarter, literally and truthfully, I mean, it came out of the field, out of the blue. If you just look at this, if you look at these numbers and you overlay it compared to the second quarter, I mean, this quarter really reversed some key specific trends or concerns within international. And think about it, over the past couple months, all we've heard throughout earnings season is the international business for many of these companies have gotten worse compared to the second quarter. And here you have Abercrombie telling you they got better. I don't know where this came from. I don't know if it was a function of them opening up more flagships and just gaining more expense leverage over that. I don't know. I need to get on the earnings call soon, so hopefully I'll find out.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, it's pulling up the whole sector right now, which is incredible for this week. Now,
the main call out, just real quick on that, is I think did call out a big benefit in their margins about lower cotton costs, and we've been hearing that all year, and it looks like it's finally coming to fruition. So that's good. Again, if you want to play, I think you just go to American Eagle.
Got you. Now let's talk about a little bit of the higher end, like Tiffany's and Coach. With this holiday season, are we going to see a spike in sales for them year over year? I mean, where's the economy at on the upper echelon side?
The upper echelon seems to be doing quite well. That's something like a Hermes, a Louis Vuitton. Now, it's this aspirational trade-up consumer that concerns me a little bit. And Tiffany's has a lot of exposure to aspirational consumer. I mean, they sell jewelry on price under $500. You saw Coach in the quarter. They put up a 5% same-store sales result, but the tone of their quarter wasn't that. It didn't excite me that much. They needed more promotions in their outlet business, for example. They had to bring that back after pulling that back. These two names, Coach and Tiffany's, are not names I necessarily want exposure here. Tiffany's too much international, and I know what Abercrombie's done today. I still don't want exposure to it. Coach, and it doesn't excite me that much. If you want to play here, I think you go with Michael Kors. We saw a nice reversal in the stock after yesterday's earnings results. Some of the strongest wholesale results where they feed into department stores. Their Europe business is actually doing well. And certainly within the retail stores, they put up almost 45% same-store sales increase. Coach put up a 5%, so the outperformance there is stark.
Well, so here's my my pick. It's Fossil. I love Fossil. I own a bunch of Fossil watches. I think that
I still buy watches, huh?
What's that?
You like those white watches, huh?
Yeah, I do. I don't know why, but I do. There's actually a store right by one of my favorite watering holes, and every time I have a couple of drinks and I walk by that store, I want to get a new one every time. But after they got killed in their earnings, I mean, what's the kind of outlook? What do you think about that pick?
A Fossil is, I went through the quarter there too. It's just too much international exposure for my liking. One theme for me is I want companies that are very U.S. focused and businesses that are already strong right now and have propensity to get stronger as the holiday season goes along. And that's your TJ Maxx, that's your Dick's. Maybe that's even something like a Nordstrom. But when Fossil, that's just more exposure to the middle income consumer. If you're so inclined to play watches, I mean, I do think watches will have a good holiday season. You want to look at a small cap like Movado. And they've cut a lot of expenses out of their business. Some of the new watch lines are doing pretty well. They've gained some shelf space within retailers. I think that's positive.
All right, let's jump into a little bit off topic. Let's go into Apple and Microsoft. We all know that one of the big indicators of how holiday sales are doing is how the technology is doing. You know, the tablets and the phones and the new gadgets. What do you see happening this week? We know that the iPad Mini just came out. Obviously, Microsoft came out with Windows 8, and they have their Surface that's selling now. Do you see that going well this last quarter?
Well, I mean, I think the holiday season will be very focused in those tablets. I mean, look, you have Walmart out there driving a Black Thursday promotion with the iPad 2. So the tablets are very important. And if you go even further, you look at what Best Buy had to say yesterday on Analyst Day. They are almost maniacally focused on tablets and smartphones. So it's a key item. And in fact, this category is so strong, I wonder if it's going to pull away from other categories within retail. Do you buy fewer basics? If you're a consumer and you want to go to Macy's because you have to plunk out X amount of dollars for the iPhone 5 plus a Surface tablet for your kid. So I think it's continue to be a hot category. There's no reason to think that it's not going to be. If there's one concern I have is on the sustainability of price points within the tablet market. You look at something like Barnes & Noble. You know, we actually sat down and chatted with the CEO of late a couple days ago, and they are very aggressive on their hardware prices. You know, they've come out and they said they're going to be very aggressive. They're continuing to be aggressive. I'm worried about the sustainability of that. But outside of that, I think the category is going to do well.
All right, give me your final thoughts. Let's do it right here on Wednesday, November 14th. What do you think is going to happen this holiday season, and what are we going to be looking at going into January? You know, I was doing a webinar with a good friend of mine the other day, and I was talking about how consumer confidence now more than ever is important. You know, with the fiscal cliff looming, just post-election after we just had our worst month or our worst week last week in 5 months or something like that. And on top of that, you know, now we're going into holiday sales, which pretty much shows how willing people are to spend their money right now. So, what are your thoughts?
I would say that you're starting to see some of the typical retail executive optimism out there. I'm a little more cautious. It doesn't mean I think things are going to be horrifically bad, but I think when you had the impact of Sandy, these were unplanned expenses on the consumer, and it's not just impacting their decisions at the store level, it's impacting them at home and how they shop online, how they shop on gadgets. They're really going to be searching for the lowest possible price. I don't think the retail sector, consumer discretionary, even within basic categories, is something you want to get willy-nilly about, where you want to get so aggressive and overweight the sector. You have to be very surgical, look for names that are winning, where same-store sales are accelerating, margins are improving. I mean, those are the very basics. But I think the environment is going to be very price competitive. I mean, at the end of the day, when you have Walmart telling you they're sitting on a lot of inventory and they're opening early and they want to move it quickly, that's the world's largest retailer telling you they're almost starting a price war for the holiday season. I mean, at the end of the day, a lot of companies also opening early, just a lot of focus on prices, and there's some risk out there for earnings, sure.
All right, last question. It's probably the most important one. Favorite Thanksgiving dish?
Favorite Thanksgiving dish? Actually, I'll throw a curveball at you. I'm a health nut. I'm a contributor to Men's Health magazine, and the past couple of years I've been making my chili sauce chicken over brown rice with coconut milk. I know it's not your traditional Thanksgiving dinner, but I'm not a traditional guy. I don't think I'm crazy. family thinks I'm crazy, but I bring this thing every year. They dig it. I dig it. I eat healthy. Turkey is pushed.
Wow, there you go. And that's definitely a curveball. I was gonna say mine was my pretzel jello, and I mean I'll eat a solid pound of that next Thursday. So
That's pretty serious, dude.
all right, Brian. Well, hey man, thanks for coming on today. Glad we could chit chat. I'm sure we'll be catching up again before the first of the year. Kind of recapping this stuff and seeing if we got any surprise picks.
Sweet, thanks, man. I appreciate it. I'll
All
talk
right.
to you soon.
Thanks, Brian.
All right, bye.